keeping this roof from blowing on. We're taking over the town, hit the switch and shut it down. Like Indy, we're electric, never stop. We're coming ready or not, we're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We're coming ready or not. We're throwing gas on the fire, the stratosphere getting high. We're trouble when we get crazy, we get wild. Got dynamite in our blood, get ready and buckle up. When we go big, we blow up in ferocious style. We're coming ready or not, we're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We'll never throw in that white towel. You're never knocking us out. We're coming ready or not, we're coming ready or not. 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 Oh, pain on our face. Oh, drums, the thunder that keeps our pace. And make no mistake, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got. We're giving all that we got. All that we got, yeah. We'll never throw in that white towel. You're never knocking us out. We'll never know. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Press Box Motorsports Podcast premiere show. This is, of course, where we're going to talk about lots of controversial topics, fun topics, have a good time, and all of that good stuff. We have a special guest we're going to be talking to about two of our topics. One of those, the first one, and the third one. Again, going to be a good show here this afternoon. I do believe we got some good content to go over. Of course, if you're in chat, Facebook or YouTube, if you got questions, comments, let us know. We'll definitely do our best to check on those. I'll be playing double duty, producing it and doing that as well. But we're just going to jump right into it because we have a lot of topics to go over to, and we have time limits for all of that, of course. And that being said, our first person on here is going to be Brockton Packard. He's our normal co-host with me. Brockton, first off, welcome to the premiere show, episode number 1 here on a at least in my area, a decent Sunday afternoon as far as weather-wise.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here on the East Coast. It's a little more chilly and a little more dark and gloomy, but it's all right because we're having a good time tonight. Premiere episode, the first official episode of the first season of the Press Box Motorsports Podcast, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's definitely good and dark there. It's supposed to be dark in my studio here. The red lights not really giving the vibe I wanted, but we'll look at those. There are some other lights I'm looking at. We want it to look cool when we're doing the show. So we'll just go ahead and we're going to get right into it. Again, this is not just a show off. I didn't have a place to put this graphics card. So full disclosure, we're making a lot of changes to LSRTV, and this being one of them, this 3080 Ti. Again, there was just no place to really put it with all the computer parts laying around. So that is why it's sitting here at the moment. But our first topic that we're going to dive right into is this $1 million to win sprint race at Eldora that Tony Stewart's putting on. You know, we're going to get our general thoughts, overall thoughts on it, who you'll predict to win it. All of that thing. Is it a good idea, bad idea? We're going to talk about all that in just a moment. But before we get too far into that, that is one of our topics that we do have a special guest in here with us. So we're going to go ahead and, of course, bring in Will Duvall. And Will, welcome to the premiere podcast, premiere show of this podcast for the Press Box Motorsports Podcast. And,
Thank you.
we're going to, again, dive right into it. We'll put, what do y'all say, 15 minutes here for this particular one, as we'll start timing down. And my question for both of y'all, overall thoughts. What do you think about this million to win sprint car race, first time ever?
Man, well, I think it's a good idea because it's gonna promote more of a younger audience, I think, because a lot of people are focused on these big money prizes, and especially over in the esports world where I'm coming from, we've got, $100,000, $300,000 for these, esports events, and then you go over to the real world and there isn't anything that kind of relates to that. I mean, you've got your all-star race in NASCAR that has your $1 million to win, but there's nothing. I hate to kind of discount the dirt world, but lower level hometown style racing that has something that big going towards it. So I think it's a good idea. It's going to bring a lot of attention to the sprint car world, and I know that for one, I'm going to be watching just to see how it plays out.
Well, me personally, I think it's a great idea. The Eldora Million is something that's been going on for a lot of years now. It's always been a dirt super late model race, though. Last year, I believe it was Davenport, if I'm not mistaken, that won it. It's always been an exciting event, and now they're bringing sprint cars into it, taking the super late models out this year, which honestly it blew my mind. I personally, as a super late model fan over sprint car fan, I'd have rather seen them, just make a second race more or less and do two of them, one for sprint cars, one for super late models. But I think it's a great idea for them. I think it's going to benefit them as a whole across the board and bring in a whole new set of fans and promote the series a little bit better, promote the race a little bit better, maybe alternate back and forth from one to the other each year would be a good idea. I think it's a good decision to change it up this year.
And of course, I too, I kind of have mixed emotions, but we'll save that for the good or bad segment of this. But overall, I do think it's a good move because sprint cars will draw a crowd, and I think Eldora will put on a terrific show. They've always got a good surface to run on. So I think it'll be a good one. The $1 million loaded question is here, and I'm just gonna, as my boss, Jeff Stabnow at LSRTV, refers to me as doing recently, is picking the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to go with, is my pick to win. I think if he can make it to the feature, it's going to be Kyle Larson. He's a sprint car driver through and through, but, I that's my pick. I want to know what y'all's thoughts are. We'll start with Brockton and go to you, Will. Who do you think is going to win this race? Assuming it's not Kyle Larson at this point now.
Yeah, so I'm at a bit of a disadvantage with this because I don't know a lot of dirt racers. So I have no clue. I would have picked Kyle Larson just because of a couple of years ago and his dominance in anything he sat in. But over the last year or so, he has been slowing down a little bit. And I'm probably chalking that up to having to spend a little more time in his full-time job as a Cup Series driver. But I really don't know because I don't know enough of them, and I think that's exactly why they're doing this, to maybe bring some light into some drivers you might not know. So I got to hand it to Will, and then I'm going to pick whoever Will picks.
Well, see, there's a downside to picking whoever I pick because I'm actually not completely certain. I don't know a whole lot of sprint car drivers myself, but I know you got Jason Johnson Racing, those guys out of that team, maybe out of that garage. They're an outstanding group of drivers. Kyle Larson, obviously, he's always a threat anytime he steps foot in any kind of race car, really and truly. But I think one person I'm going to be looking towards on this one here, as much as I want to go with Kyle Larson, since I'm a huge Kyle Larson fan, I think I'm going to have to go with Anthony Markey. Last season, if he comes out, I haven't seen or heard anything about him driving in it yet, but if Anthony Markey comes out last season, 2022, he recorded 20 wins, had the most wins throughout the season, had the best driver record throughout the whole season. I'm going to have to go with Anthony Markey on this one if he comes in races.
Someone that I'm going to pick a second person here. That's against the rules probably, but I'm going to do it anyway. If I had to pick someone that's not Kyle Larson, someone, if he shows up, we don't know how many of these World of Outlaws drivers are going to show up. But I go with Brad Sweet. He's a good one, and he's pretty much guaranteed. I'd imagine is going to be there. But and you brought up a good point. Both of you did. Town, you don't know the drivers that well, and I think this race could shed some light on these drivers. Unfortunately, you have NASCAR all over TV, Formula One all over TV, but you don't see a whole lot of dirt racing. And, I would imagine if this race isn't on, Racing America or probably Flow, maybe it'll get to national television. It would ideally, I would like to see it on CBS or Fox. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm sure Flow Racing is all over this thing, and they should be. That's their bread and butter. But yes, I'm hopeful. Even if we could get it on ESPN, we got a whole nother subject to that coming up here in just a minute. But maybe with Tony Stewart and ESPN with that other series that we're going to talk about that in a minute. Maybe we could see this thing make a national TV premiere. On there. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, for me personally, I would want two broadcasts. I'd want a broadcast that was solely like Flow or Dirt Vision or somebody who does this as their main deal, because I mean, we've seen it with a couple of our things on LSRTV. If the broadcasters don't know the track or the cars or the people that well, it doesn't sound as good, and it's not as it's not as good of a broadcast if you're not physically or emotionally attached to these guys in some shape or form. But I'd love to see it on national television, maybe take a couple dirt guys like a Kyle Larson if he decides not to race, which I don't know why he wouldn't, put them up in the booth, have some personality in there, maybe a Clint Boyer up in the booth as well, some guys that know this, but also are household names. I think that would be awesome to see maybe on a Fox or a Peacock broadcast.
I don't know. I have very strongly mixed feelings on this one here. I have to back Brockton on this one as far as it'd be better to see a group that knows the subject, knows the drivers, such as Flow Racing, do it. Take, for instance, looking back at when the trucks went to Knoxville, one of our, at least local to me, really well-known drivers. He's been making a pretty good name for himself. He's moving up in the world, Tyler Carpenter. There's a race where Tyler Carpenter went from 6th to 2nd in one lap in a heat race in the trucks. Never got a word looked at him. Does never even pay attention to him. It's because they weren't looking for him. They're not used to him. They don't know who he is on Fox Sports 1. So having somebody who's not focused on specific drivers that they know, such as Flow Racing, because they know everybody, I think it's going to benefit the whole series as a whole to stay on Flow Racing. I would love to see it go national television. I would love to see a channel get used to these drivers, know who they are, and follow them, both sprint cars and super late models. Me personally, I'm a super late model guy, so I always want to see the super late models. But I would love to see it go national television. But in the long run, I think it's got to stick with somebody who knows them.
Well, and I think we all agree it needs to be both. You want that national, maybe maybe Flo will see this and get out there. Michael Rigsby, if you're listening, maybe we can get a deal out where Flo can do the production, they can do the announcing, they know the guys, and it's known in the streaming world. Maybe they can simulcast it and send a copy to to Fox or CBS or whoever to get it on national television, MAV TV, something like that.
Like a partnership.
Yeah, because we do it a lot in real racing. We simulcast to somebody, we send them a clean feed. They can put their logos on it, their overlays and stuff, but it's the announcers from the local place that are there. So maybe something like that will work out. In the end, we got about 5 minutes on this topic left. And the last thing is good, bad. I think it's good for it. On one side, I'm happy to get the sprint cars this kind of notoriety, this big money. On the other hand, I do wish they would pay that money a little further in the field. Maybe they, I don't know the full purse. We just know it's $1 million to win.
Well, the full purse is $1.4 million. So it's $400,000 being spread out throughout the rest of the field.
Yeah, so, I wish that purse was maybe a little bit more throughout the field, because that's the one fear is I think we're going to get all of the big names, World of Outlaws, Tony Stewart's All-Star Series. I don't know if we're going to see some of these guys that could risk tearing up their car. You get someone like Tony Stewart's or Casey Kane Racing and stuff like that. They tear up a car, no big deal. You get these lower guys that struggle. It would take 3 months of their budget to come race this race. So I wish that purse was a little bit more maybe down the field. But we'll get y'all's thoughts on that. Should there be more, purse down the payout?
Well, I actually do have the payout purse and everything right here. I just went ahead and pulled it up while you were talking about it. But so the total purse minimum says $1.4 million. That's $400,000 to be spread out throughout the rest of the field. $1,002,023 for the race winner. The second place will get $100,000, third place $50,000, fourth place $25,000, fifth place $15,000, and it's going to keep on going down all the way down to 24th starter, which is the last starter in the feature race, will get $6,000. And I do apologize for the banging. I got a dog behind me. She's playing with the water bowl.
That's not too terribly bad. $6,000. Maybe if they continue this year in and year out, maybe that'll get up to 10,000, 15,000, to where that 24th place guy can still make it, and maybe we'll see some of these younger, I don't want to call them no names get in there. But Brockton, what are your thoughts on the pay scale?
I as somebody who likes the marketing aspect, I think it's a good thing. Making that first through that basically top 5 a very prestigious and high value target. But as a person who knows the ins and outs of the racing and how much things cost, if you're starting 24th or if you finish 24th and you got a wrecked race car, that $6,000 isn't going to do a lot for you. Maybe going to be able to put some new paint on it, but it's not going to be able to get you replacement parts, and you're going to be at a net loss, and you would have gone through a whole weekend of racing for $6,000, which is pocket change for some of these guys. So, I mean, it's a gamble for sure if you're going to come and race this. I think it's a tough one for me. I think it's both a good and a bad thing, like all things are. But I think as a person that will watch this, it's a really good thing. If I were to drive this, it'd be a really hard thing for me to gamble on, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's going to be a gamble, and that's why I think we're probably going to see, the World of Outlaws, the Tony Stewart's All-Star Series coming in this. We're going to see a lot of big names. I really hope, some of these guys will make the gamble and come out, we've never heard of. I never heard of, none of y'all have heard of, and go out there and win this thing potentially. So that will be a good one. And obviously, some of these series that go to like World of Outlaws and stuff that go to Eldora, they're going to have a little bit of an advantage. So not sure. I haven't looked up everything. I hope they give them enough practice time potentially, but no, more practice does mean more tires and tire wear. So we'll see. Final thoughts on that. Should we give an extra day of practice or no? Save those tires because there's more money to spend.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I would say give them a little more practice, especially if it's some of the guys that are coming out for this race only and never raced on Eldora. But that's a tough one because it's an extra couple grand for a set of tires. If you blow something, it's another chance to wreck something. So I don't know. It's a tough call.
BJ, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, I was multitasking. Ask the question one more time.
Thoughts on adding an extra day of practice for the guys that don't get to run Eldora, like the World of Outlaw drivers, stuff like that? Or should they just, no practice, save the tires, save money?
Save your tires, save money.
Well, there you go.
Save your tires, save money. Like Brockton hit on $6,000, even if you just make the feature, it's going to be a lot of money. Save your tires, save your money. You're going out on practice. Every minute you spend on track, that's a chance of you tearing up your car, tearing up your equipment, and you're out money.
Oh, there you go. And we'll go ahead and call that one closed as 27 seconds left. And we'll before we move to the next one, BJ, you want to stay for this one too? I have a feeling you might like the topic. It's up to you if you want to hang around with us or you want to come back for the next one after this.
What was the next one? Remind me what the next one is. I don't remember the schedule.
The next one, we'll just we'll leave your mic open as we
Right.
go over here and we'll let you decide. Our next topic is Tony Stewart again with the SRX schedule going to ESPN exclusively. So you want to hang around or come back for this one?
I'll sit around. If I have something, I'll chime in.
There you go. So we'll go and you can see the schedule there. It's we'll just leave his. You can hear Will or BJ, Will Duvall, whatever you want to call him, but his camera won't be on. We'll keep it on this one, but not a very big schedule. Probably one of the shortest schedule I've ever seen, like a miniature mini season. But some heavy hitters in there. You got Motor Mile, Stafford, Thunder Road, Berlin, Eldora Speedway, of course. You know he's going to go to his own track, and Lucas Oil Speedway, another one. But the big thing here, you saw some of these races, or the races on CBS, I do believe it was. Now go exclusively, and I mean 100% exclusively, to ESPN. I'm not going to lie, ESPN, we love you. Put some good stuff on, but forever now, they've been known as, college football stuff. You don't see much racing on there. So for them to get an exclusive deal, awesome. Good thing, bad thing, what are we going to see here?
I'm excited for it as for multiple reasons, but first, a nostalgia standpoint, ESPN coming back, that's very old style NASCAR, Tony Stewart era NASCAR coming back. So I like that. Based off the schedule, it's a short schedule, so points are going to be tight quick. It's a very interesting, geographic schedule. It's all very close, all in about the same-ish area, Midwest. So that's, when you think kind of short track racing, you don't think Midwest area. So I think that's a cool schedule to bring up. I'm excited for a couple of these tracks that I haven't heard of. I've never heard of Motor Mile. So again, opening up some new places and new faces. So I'm excited to see who they pull for some of these drivers or some of these races, because we all know they've got their, exclusive track drivers or somebody that represents that track well. So I'm excited about this one, and I'm interested to see how well it goes on ESPN.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes well. Go ahead, BJ.
I'll say I want to go ahead and chime on into this one because Brockton hit an excellent point. ESPN's not known for the racing world anymore, but the last season or last 2 seasons, I don't remember how long they've been in. If I've understood everything correctly, SRX they never had set contracts. They never had set deals. It was always, what are we doing next week? What are we doing next week? How are we getting this out there? They were pushing, trying to pull. So for them to get a broadcast set someplace at all is going to be excellent for them. It's going to help them, and it's also going to help ESPN to attract more people back as well. So it's a win-win on both sides, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because I think everyone will agree anyway. At least I hope they do. If not, this is roundtable discussion. That's the whole point. We may not agree, but some of the glory days, back when NASCAR was, they're good now, but as far as announcing wise, they had some good coverage of it. And it was sad to see them go back when they did. But I really hope this is a way back for them. And like I said, I love Flo. I love what they do for racing. If they can get this, it's Tony Stewart's deal. Part his deal, half ownership anyway. But, could we see maybe him work out a deal with his sprint car series? Maybe we get them on ESPN as well. I think this opens up doors for, ESPN to get back into that racing world that they, much need.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if they're going to do this, they've got to do it right. If they're going to put SRX on ESPN2 or ESPN Ocho, that's not going to work for these guys. They've got to put them on the main channel, because we're seeing a lot now with some of these broadcasting companies like Fox or NBC. that will get pushed off to the side for their regularly scheduled programming and will be on, Fox Sports or USA or whatever their sports channel is. And that's not exciting. That makes the racing community feel like they're not important anymore. And essentially that's what they're telling us at that point when they shove us off to the secondary network. So if ESPN wants to make a statement, and I mean, the network talks are going to start happening sometime middle of the season this year for 2024. So if they want to make a splash in NASCAR again, they've got to make sure they do this SRX deal correctly and maybe try to grow with, like you said, Tony Stewart's All-Star Sprint Car series.
Yeah, we can see the gears working over there in BJ's head right now. He's thinking of something, but yeah, I agree. And Tony Stewart's still being heavily involved in NASCAR. I wouldn't say he has a say in who they signed for, their productions and crew, but yeah, you said they this is their chance to make a splash and get back into it because, like I said, and everyone agreed. They're basically, you think of ESPN, you think of college sports. That's all you think about anymore. So I definitely think this is their big shot to get back into racing. If they want it, maybe they just want to go over this series. I don't know. But BJ, are those gears still spinning? What you got over there?
Personally, I don't want to see ESPN go back to NASCAR. I have my own opinions on that, which I'll keep to myself. But I think NASCAR should stay on Fox Sports 1, whatever it is. I don't actually keep up with the channel names. As far as NASCAR goes, I'd prefer to see them quit, half season change and all this stuff. I'd like to see them just stay on one single channel. It hurts a lot of people at home watching, because a lot of people don't have the other channel. A lot of them that are diehard fans that don't have the other channel. I've got family members that do it. They turn around and halfway through the race season buy a half season package. Believe it or not, 90% of them out there offer a half season package just for you to watch NASCAR for half a season that they switch. And I know for people like my family members that do that, it hurts them financially in the long run, but they're diehard fans. So that's what they're going to do. And that's the only reason NASCAR does it. But I think it hurts their viewership, hurts their fan base a lot in the long run. So I think it's a better decision for them to stay on the same one. I would rather see ESPN start picking up the dirt side. Go to Fox Sports 1 if you want to watch the asphalt stuff. You want to watch NASCAR, or you want to watch Formula 1, you want to watch that stuff, go to Fox. You want to watch some dirt racing, you want to watch real racing. We use asphalt to get to the track around here, I'm just saying. But you want to watch dirt racing, go to ESPN. I think that would be the marketing sell mark for them.
Yeah, that would be a cool thing. You tune in, okay, oh, it's an asphalt race, we go to this channel. Dirt race, we go to this one. Yeah, that would be a really good idea. I like that. And we're going to find out your thoughts off screen when we get done with this podcast, because I'm curious what his thoughts are. Obviously he does not want to say them here, but I really do. One thing I do wish is maybe that SRX schedule was a little bit bigger, but on the other side of that coin of it being a bigger schedule, the newness and the cool factor wears off after so long, just like it does with any sport of racing. To an extent, I'll always love dirt track racing, but you get the Daytona 500, you kick off the season of NASCAR, and it's like, oh, it's back. Yeah, we're back racing. And then it gets, 15, 20 races in, and you're like, oh, I don't mind if I miss this race. Let's go do something. So I like the fact that it's very short seasons. It keeps your attention, and then maybe you come back later and do another one. I like that aspect of it. So it always keeps that newness factor, because it's not, 60 races or whatever it is. It's just like 6 races.
Yeah, and go ahead, BJ.
I was gonna say I'm gonna cut in real quick. I'm gonna make this quick, and I'll let you get to your thought. But I'm a little offended by what you said there, Charles. You like dirt racing to an extent, What is this extent?
No, okay, let me
I'm
rephrase
offended
it.
by that.
I like, let me rephrase it. I like racing to an extent when it comes to long seasons. Dirt racing, I'll go to it any day, every day. That's just that. But like NASCAR,
Okay, here we go.
you know,
All right,
that newness wears off at Daytona 500. Then you come back to a couple of races, and then it just kind of wears off because there's so many races. It just that newness wears off. It don't wear off with dirt. 'Cause I'm a dirt guy, so maybe that's just maybe it's just 'cause I like dirt more. But Brockton, what are your thoughts?
You know, I like the length of the schedule, but I wish they would almost have two schedules. You know, have 2 seasons a year, because it's only a 6-week schedule from July 13th to August 17th. You still got 2 or 3 months worth of racing weather around the country that you could go. So you could do almost a West Coast and an East Coast season with a month here and a month there, and separate them by a couple months, and you'd still have that newness factor, still able to have that 3 months of off season that we normally have, and then fire it back up again in the summer and have another kind of 2 seasons like that. I agree with you on the fact that if you have too long or too many races, that cool factor kind of wears off, especially if the racing isn't that good. And I know that there were sometimes some mixed opinions on some of the tracks that SRX went to, created some lackluster performances. I personally did not watch all of them, so that's not my thoughts. That's just through the grapevine. So maybe it's a tester season. Maybe we'll see some more ideas come out from SRX in the future. But we'll see. I like where they're starting now. A big broadcast partner, a small schedule. It sounds like a recipe for success for me.
Yeah, definitely a recipe for success. Success. We successfully completed the topic in the under the 10-minute mark. So we're rolling along here. So we'll go ahead and kill that one, and we'll keep Will on here because you never know. Maybe he just wants to stay on here for the remainder of the podcast. But we're going to bring in a topic number 3. And it's more dirt. So actually, this is his topic anyway. We were bringing him in, so I don't know why we're going to get rid of him now. And of course, that is the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals, which is ongoing right now. Unfortunately, I won't be there. But you know, a lot of drivers in there for this event. Last time I checked, so we're looking right here at my notes that I have on the other computer. There's over 350 entries already, from including 57 A-feature starters from the past, 82 rookies, 5 past champions, and let's see, 296. I don't know. Someone typed that wrong. Apparently I misspelled it. Anyway, across 35 states and 5 countries, including the U.S., Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the UK. So a lot going on there, and we're going to be talking about all of that here. As we're going to go ahead, get rid of that, put our 15 minutes on the clock, and we're going to bring Will back. So, Will, midgets, Chili Bowl racing, you know, you know me in midgets. I've outran you in one with a mouse. So on iRacing, obviously I like midgets. So here at LSRTV, we actually put on the Power Eye Midget Eye Nationals. That will be coming back for 2023 in December. Just an astounding 360, actually 370 as of today on the 8th to start this thing for practice. I read they're going to be starting with the O main. So a just astronomical amount of cars and drivers coming into this one. And, you know, my question for both of you will start with BJ, because he's doing math over there at this point. Who's your pick to win this one? It's dirt drivers. There are a lot of drivers. Just about everybody in the country is basically there that races the midgets. Who's your pick to win this one?
That's tough. That's really tough. Is Rico Aber with us?
Yes, he will probably be there. I mean, speaking of Rico Aber,
I'm just gonna pick him because dude, it's so up in the air, and midgets are so everywhere. I mean, honestly, that's the only way I can think to say it. I mean, they're everywhere, and it's chaos. It's awesome. It's a blast. You're gonna see cars flying, and I'd venture to say 90% of the people out here are like, yeah, this guy's gonna win. I'd put money on the fact that it'll end up upside down at some point in time, and nobody picked to win it. I'd put money on. I mean, that berm on the inside, it catches the cars off guard so bad sometimes. It honestly, I just watch Chili Bowl to watch it. I enjoy it. I love it. It is an awesome race, and it's fun to watch people go flipping and flying through the air and then get out safely. That's the biggest thing. They got to get out safely. If they don't, it's like, oh no. But yeah, I honestly, I can't really say that I have a pick. I just watch it because I enjoy it, and I don't know. I'm just gonna say Rico Abreu because just cause.
There you go. What about you, Rockton?
I'm gonna take semi low hanging fruit. I guess I'd say it'd either be Larson or Bell if they're in it. If they're in it at the end,
Bell.
Larson or Bell, because I know Larson's a good sprint car driver, but I know Bell's a really good midget driver. And he's got it done in the past before, so if he's in it and if he's going for it, I'd say Bell.
I'm gonna go with if he again. And this is if they're in it. I haven't looked at the roster. I mean, I have, but again, 370 people. I can no way I can look at all that. But I'm gonna go with one further back. I'm gonna go with Kevin Swindell. For the fact, well, I don't know. We'll find out what he's laughing, but he won 2010, 11, 12, and 13. So, hey, maybe it's time for him to come back. He's also the only driver to win 4 years in a row. So, we'll go to Will here and see what he's chuckling about, but that's my pick.
Well, because while you guys were sitting there talking, I was looking up to see if he was in it. I thought, I wonder, he's a good shot to do this. So I'm sitting here and I'm typing. I'm like, is he in the Chili Bowl? And then you're like, I'm gonna go with Kevin Swindell. I'm like, you kidding me?
Well, yeah, I think he's a good shot.
If he is.
I personally had not heard of this driver, Tanner Thorson. I hadn't heard of him until he won last year, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, there's a couple of drivers I haven't heard of, but. You got Kyle Larson 2 years before that, Christopher Bell 3 years, won 17, 18, and 19. Rico Abreu won 15 and 16. Unfortunately, whether you follow dirt racing or not, you know who Brian Clausen is. Obviously, he can't win this one, due to a track accident a few years ago. But, it's still, that's still a sad subject there. But he did win back in 2014, and then it was Kevin Swindell. And then you go back, we'll go to at least 2000. You got Sammy Swindell, Damian Gardner. We'll see maybe him. Tony Stewart won this thing back in 2007. Tim McCready back there, Tracy Hines. There's a lot of drivers. Tony Stewart again back in 2002. So there are a lot of drivers that have won this thing. Keep in mind, this has gone back to 1987 here on the thing, and just consequently the year I was born. So, I like this race. I didn't obviously watch it there for a few years because I was, an infant at the time. But, a lot is going on here. And, the next thing is we're coming up on about just under 10 minutes left on this subject. And that, of course, is the flip count. We do it on broadcasts on sim racing. We do it on real racing. Out of 360 cars, some of these guys may do it more than once. We'll start with Brockton. What do you think the flip count's going to be if they keep track of it for us this year for the Chili Bowl?
Last year the flip count was a grand total of 67 flips. So that's a tough one. I think that it's going to be more this year because there's a lot of drivers. So I'm going to say we break the 80 mark. I'm going to say 85.
All right, Will, what are your thoughts? How many flips are we having?
I'm going to say 101.
101. And we're going to keep track of these numbers, by the way, when the weekend's over, if they let us know. I'm gonna be that horrible person that does this on the Price is Right. I'm gonna go 102, just to go one above Will, because I think there'll be a lot. And yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's just that way. Like you said, the berm on the inside is rough, and just about as bad as the cushion this track's gonna build up on the outside. You know, I know everyone that goes there. We'll take another bet. If you know people on Facebook, on your friends list that are going to the Chili Bowl, how many of them you think are going to complain the week after about having the Chili Bowl flu? Because, I've been to plenty indoor races, and, the fumes that place builds up are just ridiculous. And, it's almost like having the flu. It,
Never been to one. Never been to an indoor race.
Oh, you got to go to an indoor race. Brockton, have you ever been to
Want
one?
to.
I haven't been to an indoor race, but I have been to Bowman Gray, which might as well be indoors at this point. And the fumes you get just even off of a really short track outdoors is pretty insane. So I would say, at least from our small circle at LSRTV, if anybody's going, probably most of them are going to complain about it.
Yeah, I definitely think they
90%.
will. Yeah, 90% is definitely a good one, and we'll bring this back up. Will's gonna get his head cut off for just a minute, as we'll put that back up, and there you go. You can see, we talked about the winners, who's gonna be the winner, and we talked about the flip count here. So, not much more. I mean, that's it. Just the sheer amount of drivers in this event are just astronomical. So Will's going cross-eyed from having a picture on top of his picture, but this I believe is a 37th annual Chili Bowl. It makes you wonder what are they going to do. We'll conclude with this one a little bit early, but 37, 40's coming up pretty soon. 40's a big milestone. Then 50. What are we going to see? Should the Chili Bowl people that put this on, should they do something really big for the 40th anniversary of this race?
I don't know what you could do. I mean, this is already a crown jewel event in the dirt world. So, I mean, unless I don't know what the prize pool is, but unless Tony donates $1 million for it, I don't know what else you really could do. It's already a big event. You've got, 300 and some odd people trying to win it. And when you have to have the O main, you've already made it as a big event. So I don't know what else they could do. I don't know if they should do anything. I mean, they've done this for 37 years up to this point, so that it's obviously a good event and it's run well. So I say, have a little bit of pomp and circumstance, but other than that, keep it the same.
I think the only thing that you really could do to be the icing on the cake is, get all 40 winners, or all 39 winners previous to that, bring them out, have like a little mini ceremony in the middle of the track. But I don't know, man. It's hard for me to get to 40. I had a hard enough time counting to 15 to realize that the O main is 15 mains. So, but yeah, I think that's the only thing they could do is really just have some kind of ceremony celebrating the other 39 or other 39 years that they've done it. Bring all the winners out and talk about them, have a little ceremony or something in the middle of the track.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would like to see when we get to the 40th year, obviously, Brian Clausen won't be there, and there's probably some others that couldn't make it. But one thing I would love to see is prior to, so like tonight, when they're practicing today, and then we'll start, it'll all kick off with qualifying and stuff like that. Tonight, or, in the 40th anniversary on Sunday night after practice, let's go and, take the last, say, however many they start, 24 winners, and let's have a race of champions prior to it. Tell them bring an extra car, and let's have a race of champions to determine, and maybe that person gets a guaranteed spot, in the A main or something, if they don't make it into the A main on their own. But yeah, let's do a race of champions at year 40 and just see how it all goes.
I don't know. Some of them guys are pretty old now.
Well, you got to play there. So, like I said, some
I
of them
mean,
may not be able to make it. So,
yeah. So I don't know if you can fold Tony into a midget. I'd watch that.
he might fit in there. I know
He might. He's
he.
slimmed down over the years. He's definitely slimmed down a
Yes.
little bit.
Yeah, and one of my friends, Chuck Kemper, goes to it every year, and I believe Tony Stewart sits like 2 or 3 seats down from him or something like that. So he is there. Whether he is actively participating or not, he probably will be there. So that'd just be something I think would spice it up a little bit. Let's get these guys hammered out. Like I said, winner gets a guaranteed A main spot if they don't make it in through the O main, or probably be like the triple Z main at that point or something. But regardless, it'll be astronomical amounts of mains going on. But I think we can safely call that subject is we've kicked that horse till it's dead. So we'll see what happens in 2-3 years when they get to the 40th anniversary. And the last subject here is we won't cut Will's head off this time. We'll actually just slide him over real quick as we bring in our next one. And this one, I'm going to tread carefully because I don't want to make iRacing mad. And it's unfortunate for iRacing. They really didn't have much say in it, I guess. But that is, of course, IndyCar choosing to partner with someone else instead. And I know Will doesn't probably do much IndyCar, so this won't affect him too much. But,
Yeah, it does.
oh, there you go, it does. We want to know your thoughts on it. Signing an exclusive deal with another sim/game company, not iRacing. And at the time of this, starting in 2023, it is already now 2023. So that contract is in effect, and unfortunately, nothing did change. So my first question for both of you, and we'll start with Brockton, is, do you think it was a silly move for IndyCar? Going with another party? Or is this something we're going to see from other manufacturers like Formula One, NASCAR, and other people moving to, adventure out and try other things, and maybe sign with somebody else in the future?
I really hope this isn't a new fourth trend because, I mean, let's be honest. iRacing, we love it. It gives us our jobs, but it's not perfect. But no sim is. So I hate the fact that it's an exclusive deal with IndyCar and another gaming company because their sims aren't perfect either. I wish there was kind of like we'll give you information to each sim and it will make it better, because really it's just hurting every sim on the market now because you have to go to that place for the IndyCar stuff, and now our IndyCar stuff will never get updated until IndyCar eventually, hopefully, gets rid of this exclusivity contract. I know over Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere has been blowing up. The iRacing community is furious about this. It doesn't affect me too much because I'm not an open wheel driver, but a lot of my friends that I'm running the 24 with or other races like that, they are livid from it. And it's also affecting real world IndyCar because a lot of people are boycotting IndyCar this season because of this exclusivity contract.
And I spoke too soon. Will, how's this affecting you?
Well, honestly, if you look at it as a whole, it affects all of us that do broadcasting. Me, I work with not just LSRTV, I work with another broadcast company as well. But it hurts us as a whole. And that's what's got me heated about it. Because what if somebody had a league, had something they wanted to broadcast, they wanted to come on one of our broadcast companies, make us a little money in our pocket, promote their league and everything as a whole. It hurts the league, it hurts the broadcast company, it hurts all of us. I'm a league owner. I work for 2 different broadcast companies. I'm heated about this. Yes, the other broadcast company that I work for is mostly dirt. But when it comes down to it, if somebody comes to us and says, "Hey, can you broadcast this?" If we have the open slot, and we're more than likely we're gonna take it if we've got the open slot. It helps us out. It helps them out. So at the end of the day, this whole exclusivity deal, it was. Am I allowed to call them out Am I allowed to call them out, or do I got to bite my tongue? Can I call them out?
As long as it's a main, we'll keep it a mild call out, I guess.
A mild call out. Okay, this was the worst decision that IndyCar has ever made in the history of video
Oh, you're
gaming.
calling out IndyCar? Go ahead. Well,
Oh, okay, good. This is the worst decision. This is the stupidest decision. I'm allowed to say that, right? That IndyCar has ever made, that any motorsports has ever made in the history of gaming, because there is never in the history of video gaming, in racing video gaming, there's never been any company to sign an exclusivity deal with any company. The reason being is because when they go to one company, now they're bringing their income from video gaming from a vast majority of companies that they can put their stamp on to a single company, especially on top of a company that's going out of business. I'm gonna leave it alone at that.
Yeah, and I will. I wasn't going to bring up that part, but if you do want to go look at some more information that is rumored to be true, we will not confirm if it is or isn't. We didn't write it, so we're not going to say it. But you can go look at InsiderGaming.com. They have a whole story on some stuff, that we won't talk about here. But I will say this: I do probably think iRacing did everything in their power to try to keep IndyCar here. Because, it affects them too. No broadcaster is allowed to broadcast IndyCar racing now. On iRacing, the leagues can still run it, but they can't do it. And, I feel bad because I know RaceSpot, they're a big company and they do a lot of IndyCar stuff, so it's going to affect them. It affects iRacing themselves because they have the IndyCar 500, or at least they did now. They don't now, but I feel bad, for them because they probably did, again, like everything they could to try to keep this contract here, and alas, it just didn't work.
Well, it's not just that, but IndyCar, without coming straight out and saying it, if you look at all the press releases and everything that have been put out, IndyCar has basically told iRacing that the car that you were on is the last car that you will get. Yeah, so, I mean, they've hurt the sim massively, and they've hurt themselves.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, and I will say this, for the people that do enjoy IndyCar racing and love it, I really do hope that where they went to their other partner, I hope they do fine. I hope they survive. I hope all the rumors aren't true because, those people that love IndyCar want a place to race their cars. So, Brockton, we'll come to you. What are your overall thoughts, on this? It's, it's a sad day for iRacing because we don't get to broadcast IndyCar racing. And let's be honest, I love IndyCar, especially when they wreck because, we just got the new damage models, parts go flying everywhere. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of thoughts in my head, and there's a lot of I don't know. I guess you can call me a video game conspiracy theorist because, I mean, if BJ's sources about their new partner going out of business soon are true, this could be a business deal. Maybe IndyCar is going to kind of envelop that, I guess, gaming culture and then take what they have over there and try to apply it and make a better game for themselves. I mean, it's been a long time since we've had an IndyCar exclusive game, so it could be good for them. But, I mean, this gaming company has made some lackluster games for another motorsport that I quite enjoy, and it gives me a little bit of skepticism when it comes to if IndyCar will be able to make a solid video game out of what they have. I mean, IndyCar's great, the racing's great, but iRacing had something going, and I was really hoping that we would get rain before this happened because I think IndyCar on rain would be fun. It'd be an experience for sure, but it's a real shame for everybody involved. I don't think anybody really comes out on top at the moment. But now iRacing now has something that they have to fill the void of, so we could possibly see another form of racing get introduced into iRacing. So that could be a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. And on that subject, let's talk about that for a minute. If, maybe they'll switch over to Formula One and we'll see, a bigger partnership with them. Or if they just say, boom, there goes IndyCar, and they just kind of disregard it altogether and they bring in something new, what form of racing could we see new that could do that? I would say something like drag racing, but that would be a whole new overhaul. They'd have to do a lot of work. So I don't see that coming in. We could do some speedboats. I don't know, RC car racing. What I do think would be really cool, and this would be a big money maker, I think, for iRacing in the long run, and it would get them a new clientele. You don't have IndyCar anymore, so you're gonna lose probably some subscribers that only race IndyCar or whatever. Um, you know, eh, I think everybody here's seen Outlaw Carts, 250s, 500s, stuff. I would love to see them pursue that. Go after Outlaw Carts, QRC, SRT, or whatever their initials are, RFC, Ron Foster chassis. Go after these go karts. Sign. It's the same as sprint cars. You sign a deal with QRC. You scan one of their carts, and then you can use it for 125, 250s, and 500s, and then go around and scan some of these really nice go-kart tracks like Millbridge Speedway. And I believe Eldora has Little E go-kart track. So sign some of these tracks that you already have, or you sign new ones, and introduce go-kart racing into that. And you could also do flat carts and winged cage carts. And you've got a whole new clientele of younger kids getting into iRacing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I would, I have my two standpoints, my what could actually happen, and then my ethanol dream, we'll call it. I think go-karts, both the asphalt and the dirt carts, the road carts, if you could add that could then boost that rookie clientele, because, I mean, when you're in rookie, you only have so much you can run. Dirt legends, dirt street stocks, asphalt legends, and Formula Vs and street stocks. You got 5 cars that you can kind of run. So you add another level to that, you're going to be able to get more clientele, more people driving, and a different ranking system that people are going to be able to enjoy. My probably not going to happen dream, I would love to see something like Monster Jam or something get put into
That
iRacing,
would be cool.
having
That
head-to-head
would be
races.
cool.
Like, it doesn't have to be official. It could be kind of like the hill climb that they added. Nobody really does official things on it, but it's a cool thing to screw around with, and people use it all the time. So if you could scan, it doesn't even have to be real tracks. It could just be the layouts of 4 or 5 different events. You've got your trucks that you have body styles for, can make your own trucks, and just go head to head with a bunch of people, or freestyle. So there's so many possibilities with that. So I'd love to see that. Or maybe, like you said, something with the water sport, like the boat races that they do down in Florida, the swamp boat races that they wing around the swamp. I basically any sort of motorsports that isn't already in there that goes fast, I'd love to see it.
There, there, I have to lean towards what Cody was saying with the mini sprints and things like that, and kind of at the same time lean towards what you're saying too, Brockton. At the same time, I think it'd be freaking awesome. I'm not big on the boat races or anything like that. I do think they're cool to watch, but I'm not gonna sit there and choose to watch them all the time. But like, bring Monster Jam on iRacing, that would be sick. But as far as bringing mini sprints and stuff like that in, I think that personally, the dirt street stocks are not drivable enough anymore with a new tire model to be a rookie class car. I don't think. I think if we do this, they gotta get minimum 5-6 tracks for the mini sprints, for even dirt go-karts, asphalt go-karts. The body looks like a dang on horseshoe wraps around it, and that's basically all that they are. I think they should bring the mini sprints, bring all that into iRacing. Give us at least 5 or 6 tracks to start off with, and over time, maybe build up. And here's the thing about it: go look at almost every one of the dirt tracks on iRacing. Zoom your camera way out, look around. There's a dirt track. There's a go-kart dirt track already there. Go in, fix that track up. I want to take this go-kart to Volusia. Automatically puts you on the go-kart track. why not?
Yeah. And, you mentioned, Brockton, the shifter carts, the asphalt go-karts. Some of them run at like Daytona, inside the infield of Daytona. Some of these tracks, they're already there. So you would already have some of the tracks. They would just have to put the configuration in there for us if it's not. So I definitely think that is the path to go. If iRacing wanted to, there's already a lot of content, and I'm sure there's a lot of tracks already scanned. And these little quarter-mile tracks, you could run mini sprints on them. I don't know if I'd want to put a go-kart on there. They usually run little eighth-mile tracks, but it wouldn't take much to get a hold of some of these tracks that are iconic ones around. Again, like Millbridge, Little E, and some of these to just get go-karts and go-karts in here and fill that void. And again, like you mentioned, Brockton, get a new clientele of kids getting in there, because there are a lot of indoor events that are big, and iRacing could easily take one of these simulators or two of them, like Tyler Hudson just did with his car. Bring those down to these indoor events and let these kids race them. Most of them are probably on there anyway, and if you could tell your friends, hey, you can't race with me in real life, but you could come race with me on iRacing, you're going to get a lot influx of people, I think, coming on to iRacing. So we are coming up on the end of this one, so we'll start with Brockton, and we'll go over to you, Will. Just final thoughts on this whole subject, and what you hope to see in the future with IndyCar.
Yeah, IndyCar is kind of like a toxic girlfriend. I don't know if you want him back after that. You left me once, are you gonna leave me again? But I'm not quite sure if iRacing would even take him back at that point. It depends upon what they do with this license and this deal already. I'd love to see those carts come in, be able to scan some of these maybe not well-known tracks, because they're needing an influx of cash in those tracks to keep them alive. So if iRacing wants to go, hey, we'll give you $5,000 to scan this track and the license for it, I'm sure they'd take it, because that's facilities they can use and a good influx of cash to maybe make a better impression for that track. So I hope they can make this bad thing a good thing and run with it and hopefully make something decent with it.
I don't know, and calling it the toxic girlfriend, man, I just totally lost every train of thought I had. It's like, I've never had that before. But at any rate, overall, I'm just gonna be totally blunt. I'm gonna be honest. I hope this game never comes out. I hope it never comes to fruition. I hope IndyCar realizes their mistake when it doesn't, because I don't think it's going to anyways, and I have my reasons for saying it. And after the reaction that I got after a couple of the other things that I said, we'll hold off on that one. But I don't think we're ever going to see it, and I hope that it doesn't. When we don't see it, I hope that IndyCar wisens up, makes the right decision, gets a new marketing director, and makes the right choice as far as who they're partnering with, why they're partnering with them, and do away with the exclusivity deals. That is the worst thing for any racing series to do in video gaming.
Well, I agree. Is definitely, bad deal. You don't want to sign exclusive, I don't know what they got out of it. Really not my place. I don't want to know, but unfortunately, it is what it is sometimes when those happen. But we're out of time. We've literally hit the 1 hour mark right on it. So perfect timing there. Brockton, good to have you here as the co-host. Will, we brought you in for 2 and we kept you for 4, so good to have you here as well. That being said, on behalf of myself, Charles, BJ, or William, or whichever you want to call him, Duvall, Brockton Packard, Jeff Stabnow at LSRTV, and everyone else involved to get this thing going after 2 years of waiting. Episode number 1 in the books. We'll see y'all next Sunday, potentially. We'll see. It's hot in this office. It's 86 degrees. I'm going to go take a cool shower, but we'll see you all next week.
chest. I breathe fire with every breath. It's a marathon, so I never rest. No, you wanna fill my shoes, you know you're gonna lose. I make moves like I'm playing chess. Always AP when I need success. Grade A, DNA, you could say I'm blessed. So I'm coming up now. I'm ready for the big time. I'm headed for the finish line. On top 'cause the world is mine. I'm ready for the show. You're gonna see me glow in the spotlight. I'm ready for the big time. Front page got the breaking news. An emperor with the royal crew. I'm taking off, drinking rocket fuel. So somebody hit the lights. I'm gonna drop the mic. I'm